JakeOfALL. I'm back. And I don't have a pretty backdrop, but I do have a PACKOUT, okay? So, you know, as you saw in my one video, you gotta always get your PACKOUTs ready. We got the sidecar. Sorry for the weirdness. I gotta run back and forth because PACKOUT Princess is busy. But I am gonna be.
What?
Oh, what?
What do you have going?
What were you do?
What? Oh. Well, it's back to run off.
Busy?
That's all right, man. Well, you know, the girl's gotta go, she's gotta go.
Alright, so we got a wall, and we're gonna put a TV up, but I got something cool that I wanna show you. And, got a TV bracket, got a TV. We're in Florida. You don't know this, but a lot of the houses in Florida are block. And this wall, I suspect, is block with lath strips. Not lath, but furring strips. And we'll get into it a little closer when I open these pretty drawers out. We're gonna show you something here, but unfortunately that means I'm gonna get PACKOUT Princess behind the camera, and then I'm gonna show you what I'm working with.
Okay.
Tool life, not,
okay.
Yeah, stuff like
I'm gonna go over here, out of the way so I can help.
So I'm here, I'm at the PACKOUTs. I've got all my stuff that I think I need. Painter's tape. This is like the first thing I do. Quick tip. Go like that. Stick it on yourself, right? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this center line on the window. And I am going to just sort of eyeball it because obviously I'm gonna use the level and all that other stuff. So obviously the clothing worked and it's not as sticky. That's the goal, is to not pull the paint off the wall. All right, so I'll get my level or my center line sort of figured out, and then I want to mark my studs. Now, I'm gonna get the TV on the bed on a nice, sheet so that it's not scraped. I'm gonna get my wall bracket all unpacked and figured, get my heights from the edge of the TV. But one of the things I want to do is go along this with a stud finder. And I've got 3 stud finders, and I know I promised you something special, but I'm gonna grab them. And this is the first one I had, and this thing usually always never works, but typically it can find, see, here, okay, right? So this is the type you go like that. And I've got one like this that you gotta like hold with like 2 fingers. And that, I haven't actually been having too much success with that. So.
Oh wait, where's your third?
Oh, well
that was only 2.
Oh, that sounds like a stud there, I think. Now that all sounds the same now.
Mm-hmm.
So that only works so many times. If the wall's really hollow, sometimes it can find it. But I know I promised you something special. So come here. You ready? There's like it's gonna be like the Indiana Jones, the bright light. Oh, that's right. So I don't know if you've seen these advertisements for Walabot. This is the Walabot DIY 2. This thing is like having, I closed it instead of opened it. This thing, it's pretty crazy. So if you've ever used a stud finder, typically they're using like static electricity. This, it's got like some crazy, I don't know, it must have like some military science in it, whatever. But I'm gonna show you it on a smartphone, and that's what it uses. So I've got an Android phone in here, but I also have my standard iPhone, and I'm gonna pair it to both. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you on live, not just a SEMA demo, not just a, SEMA, that wouldn't be a SEMA. What would that be? Special equipment? That's a cars. Not like a home electronics show, right? With some studs and like where you can see behind it. I'm gonna show you on this real wall, you can see there's no holes, right? I also have a couple other places in the house where we've run some wires, and I ran into some situations, and I will show you that as well, that if I had something like this to know, because this isn't just gonna show me studs, this is gonna show me pipes and wires. And there's a couple different ways you can use it. Now you notice there's not a screen on here, so when I keep saying I'll show you, but I'll use one of the devices like this, or an iPhone, and the screen, and I'll show you in its sort of picture mode, and then there's an expert mode where you can sort of see what it's seeing. And it's pretty cool what it's finding behind the wall, because this isn't just a standard wall. This is drywall. This is probably gonna be block with furring strips. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna get this paired, and we'll come back and let's show you what's on this wall. All right, so I've got the Walabot out and I've got it up on the wall. All right, so, yep, oh, she's showing the phone. Okay, so I know there's a stud here, right? Because it's a window frame. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring this along the wall, okay? And you can see here, it's detecting, and it looks like it's gonna be detecting a good bit of wires in this wall because, right? But let's go ahead and keep moving. Okay, so now, right? Now, spoiler alert, right? If you have an outlet, you should typically have a stud to the left and right of it. So what I'm gonna come over here, and there's a little center mark on the top of this. And if you look on the screen, you can sort of see how it's centering. So I'm just gonna put a tick mark here, right? And I'm gonna work my way around, right? So this is probably this wire that's finding in the wall. I don't know how it's snaking. Now, this again is like a lath or a furring strip. So this wall is a lot thinner. We're gonna come down. We wanna try to hit 2 studs, okay? Now this stud, it's funny, it's saying this one is a metal stud. If you look over on the screen. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark this one. Now, let me show you something cool. Watch this. So I'm gonna click Expert. Okay, and this is giving us more of what the device is seeing, right? So what does that say there?
Wooden stud.
Right, it's saying, right, I'm right there about on the center, and you can see how the blob is centered, and that's where it's guessing, right? Okay, now let's go ahead and just keep moving. Let's see what the screen is detecting. It's finding a wire. Pipe roll wire. I'm trying to get you to stop. Okay. Now, the TV bracket obviously has to span more than one stud. You could do hollow wall anchors, but I really want to find another stud. And if you know anything about construction, you should know typically your studs are 16 on center. So we found this one. We found one over here, but the bracket's going to be closer to here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this. I'm going to start over here, and I'm just going to bring it over. And it should. All right, so there's that stud again. Okay, you can see it's sort of lined up in the center there. And I bet you if we measure this, we're going to be close to 16. And we will just keep going to make sure, because we're going to double check that it found it. Because if it found it once and it didn't find it again, then we might have a problem. Oh, okay, so here it is finding it again. And it's saying on that center, I'm going to go ahead and take it here since I marked it twice just to make sure. So really, we're on that one. So I will circle this. And one of the things you should always keep in mind about something like this, in any kind of technology, right, is that this device is not cutting a hole in your wall, it's not putting a camera in, it's not looking in it. So besides God looking in the wall or your wife, nobody knows everything. So keep that in mind. Don't just go crazy with a Sawzall. You should always, especially if you're using like a jab saw or something like that, always cut in shallow once you get your inspections right. Now we are obviously just mounting a bracket. We've got this, so we're gonna do a pilot hole. When I get the bracket laid out as well, the top and bottoms, I'm gonna run one more quick scan to make sure we're not actually gonna hit a wire. And yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and lay the TV and the bracket out, and we'll be right back.
JakeOfALL, what are you doing?
I'm doing work.
You
I
are.
don't complain, I don't. So, of course, I had to space these, but, and yes, I'm using an impact, but I'm gonna stop, and then I'm just gonna grab a screwdriver, now that I've gotten them in, and I will tighten all these guys down. And I don't know if I'm the only one, but I save all these extra spacers.
Never know what you're gonna use them for.
What if one of the kids missing them? What, you never know. All right, so I've got the cardboard on the wall. I've extended my lines to where it's saying it is. I want to double check it right before I drill. I'm going to go ahead and launch the app. Now this is my iPhone. That was the Android I was using. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to this phone, and I'm basically just going to say that it's going to want to join. And we're going to obviously make sure that this guy's on. All right, so we're connected and we can tell. So it's anytime you turn this on, it does want to calibrate. I don't know if I showed you that, but I will show you. So it's basically to, you know, make sure the depth and all that stuff is figuring it out right. It's going to want to calibrate, and it's just going to ask you, and it gives you sort of a template of what you're supposed to be doing. Calibration complete. Now, as I showed you before, I'm gonna run it in image mode. And what I wanna do is I wanna bring it over here. And I wanna make sure, yep, right, that we're showing that stud. And that we're showing that stud. So we're good. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just power this off. That's gonna, you know, time out. It's actually pretty convenient. It's a USB-C connection. I actually like this little case. I might do something as crazy as, just because I don't use the Android phone much, but keep that in there so I've always got a device to work with that. So now I'm gonna go ahead and drill some holes in the wall. But when I'm done hanging this TV, I promise I'll be back. I'm gonna show you scanning this on some interior walls, showing some electrical that we ran into, where I knocked out PACKOUT Princess's hairdryer.
Oopsie.
Oopsie. And we'll be back. All right, I got the TV on the wall. These furring strip and block houses are always entertaining, but we got it up, we got it lagged in, it's solid. We've got this on, we're gonna center it, but before we go to that, I wanna get this wire up out of the way. So it included this little Velcro, which is nice, so that I can hook and loop this through. And I will just get it out of the way, and then we'll get this pushed back and the cover's taken off. So yeah, as I was saying, that helped. Being able to see what I was gonna run into. This block in behind the wall really adds for the complexity. But I've got a couple rooms, like I said, I accidentally ran a screw through something in PACKOUT Princess's bathroom, and I'm gonna show you how this would have helped. And I've got to install something in one of the kids' closets for their Nerf guns. So I'm gonna go ahead and take you along. We're gonna grab the Walabot, and we're gonna show you a couple other scenarios where it really would have either helped me stop a problem before it could have happened, or in this next scenario where we're gonna put the Nerf gun rack up, it's gonna make sure that I don't start a problem. Okay, we're gonna go into the closet. Keep the jokes aside. Check this out. See, this is another spotlight look. My cup, right? It's in the PACKOUT. I've got the stuff that I'm working on. So now what I need to do is I need to grab this. And this is, I know it's a little excessive, but we have kids. They have tons of Nerf guns. So we're gonna mount these in the closet. All right, so I want to put them somewhere here on the wall. So what I'm going to do is, I've got my screen up. Okay, I'm going to put this on here, and I'm just going to go high. Okay, we're getting close. Where to go? All right, so it's got one there, which means we are on the right side of the outlets. All right, so let's go ahead and go backwards. All right, we've got one there, but you notice what I haven't seen pop up on the screen? Tell them.
Electrical wires?
Right. So what I'll do is I'm going to come back over here. And there we go. There's a wire, and let's switch it to expert mode. So here you can see this little faint line. That's showing the wire, and there's going to be wire in there because of this switch, and we know. But let's just, for the sake of this, let's bring it around here to the side. Look, it's saying recommend scan with image mode. We'll go back to that and see what it says. No object detected yet. Just that wire again. There's that stud. Let's just make sure everywhere we're going to run this. I'm going to even bring it down. Oh yeah, what was that? Okay, so a wire, which would make sense if you look here. Do you see that wire there? So typically, right, you're going to come down your wall from your outlet where you're going to supply, and there's down there. Mm-hmm. So it's going to run like that. So it's detecting it. So far, though, over here, we found that where we want to put the Nerf rack is fine. But watch this. Do you want to see something hilarious? Look at how this bracket is pulling out of the wall. Watch this.
Now move your head.
Move my head. Watch. Go. And watch the screen. Right there. Right on. They were like a half an inch away. Now, granted, these shelves aren't that, but they could have angled that screw, but there's no way. Yeah, so that's right on the edge of it. They were close, but, no cigar. So let's go show them your bathroom where I hit the wire. All right, so I'm in the princess's closet. Bathroom, dressing, whatever. And, okay, so I've got it on a spot on the wall. Watch this. I'm going to move it over. We're going to find this stud. Okay, so this stud is important. And you're going to ask why. Because watch this. We're going to move over. What's that?
The wire.
What is it? It's pipe wire. Now, can you see the drywall? Show them the drywall. Cut out.
A nice square cut out.
Right, so this was an access that I cut open because of something right here. You want to see what it is?
What is it?
Should we go show them?
Okay, sure.
Well, let's show them the rest of this wall, but then we'll go show them. All right, so nothing else here, right? Just the stud. And something is on this stud on the other side of this wall.
Dun, dun, dun.
And right where that is, you can see, I'm fine. All right, right? So if we were to put one, which is a wire, plus one, which are plugged together, and then a stud, right? 1 plus 1 equals 2. If we go to the other side, we're going to see where the 2 is. Let's go show them. All right, here we got our 1 plus 1. This is our 2. Do you see this bracket? Do you see the stud? Zoom in there and show them right there where I'm pointing at. See that anchor? Mm-hmm. That anchor went right through that stud. And in that stud, where it showed that wire going diagonal, was that wire going diagonal to that outlet. And when I put that screw in, it just nicked the side of it. Now, had I known this, I could have, because this bracket is completely adjustable, I could have gone up, I could have gone down, I could have stayed away from it. So while this won't show everything that, maybe a higher power will show, it will let you know how to stay away from stuff you don't want to hit. Oh, hey, it works. That's like the rule with a stud finder. They say that anytime
if you own a stud finder, you have to put it on yourself.
Dad always. It's funny is it's telling me I'm both a wood stud and a metal stud, so I must be like robotic or something. But I'm gonna go ahead and power this off nice and gently, and I'm putting it back in the case. You know where I'm gonna put it?
Where are you gonna put it?
It's going in the PACKOUT.
Oh boy. That's like the rite of passage right there.
Exactly. If it earns a spot in the PACKOUT.
That's a good tool.
So, as I said at the beginning, I had seen it advertised in a bunch of places, and I was always, apprehensive. I've bought the normal static electricity style stud finders time after time. And honestly, I was always just as lucky knocking with my finger on the wall. But if 16 on center, and you were to go along the wall, and you were to put a tape measure, and you were to mark it, and you were to run the Walabot along that wall, it found it every single time. So that's impressive. It also did a pretty good job, I thought, at centering it on it, because we saw in the shelf that the builder did for this house, that they were right there on the edge, which is why that bracket was pulling out. It found the wires in the wall that I hit.
Oopsie.
It found the wires in the wall that I didn't want to hit hanging the TV. TV looks great. It's nice and anchored. And obviously showing the area in our daughter's closet where we're putting all the Nerf guns, it's nice to know that I'm not going to hit any of those wires. So that in itself is worth the little bit more you're going to spend. And as long as you don't break it, comes in a nice case. You put it in the PACKOUT. But the fact that it's got this little case, I like this. I'm going to probably keep that inexpensive Android phone with it, but it works with both the iPhone and the Android no problem. And yeah, it's definitely got my seal of approval. So check it out. I'll make sure I put a link below. And if you guys like more of these style videos where I show you a product in a project, I would love for you to comment below and tell me what you think.